Good morning, students. In the last class we have started iron and steel industry and we have covered some questions. Today we are going to continue with iron and steel industry. Last question we did was iron and steel industry is a heavy industry. Give reasons. That is the question we have done, where the raw material and finished products all are heavy. Iron ore, coking coal, limestone, all these are heavy. Along with some amount of manganese is also used to harden the steel. That much we have done. Now the next question in the same part is, where should the steel plants be ideally located? Now you have seen that steel is a heavy material. So where do you think the steel plant should be located? Steel plants should be ideally located near cheap and high quality raw material, good marketplace, cheap skilled labor, good transportation facilities, maybe the railways, seaways or roadways, etc. If all these are there, generally the steel plants can be located. But out of these all reasons, which is the most important reason? Most important is cheap and high quality raw material, availability of cheap and high quality raw material. If this is there, the raw material is present in that place, it is an ideal location of a steel plant. Because we have seen that the raw material is heavy. If we transport this raw material to far off places, the cost of production will increase. That is why steel plants are located near the raw material. Now we have few figures, children, which you don't have to learn those figures. You just see what are they. In 2016, 95.6 million tons of crude steel production. Now, what is this crude steel? The term is internationally used to mean the first solid steel product upon the solidification of liquid steel. You can say the first stage from the liquid steel when it is solidified, that is called as crude steel. India ranked third among the world's crude steel producers. It is also the largest producer of sponge iron. Now, what is the meaning of sponge iron? It is direct reduction iron, also called as sponge iron, is produced from the direct reduction of iron ore to iron by reducing a gas or element carbon produced from natural gas or coal. That is your sponge iron. So India is also the largest producer of sponge iron. Then in 2016, we have further figures, and children, in the old books definitely and the new books the figures have changed. So you can note down the figures or you can click a pic from here. So the per capita consumption of the steel in our country was only 63 kilogram per annum against the world's average of 208 kg. What do you mean by that? That in India, our consumption of steel is very low if we compare with the world's average of 208 kg. We have a table here also. Again, you don't have to learn the table. If at all the questions are asked, the table will be given to you. It shows total production of finished steel in India. Again, in the old books till 2014-15 is given. So you have the new figures here. from 2016 to 17 also. They all are in metric tons per annum. It starts from 2010-11 to 2016-17. You can see the growth of production, total production of finished steel in our country. So, as we have done just now, that the consumption of steel in India is low if we compare with the average consumption of steel of the world or of the other countries. Now, the question is why the average consumption, or why is, the question is given here, why is the per capita consumption of steel so low in India? Answer is, per capita consumption of steel in India is low due to the few or the following reasons. They are lack of development in the remote areas. We see, because where these raw materials are there, we see generally those regions are not very developed regions. So the lack of development in the remote areas. Then in India we have poor infrastructure. So we don't have that much infrastructure so that the raw material can reach to the industries. So again, the lack of, then we have adequate means of transport makes it difficult to deliver the steel into the backward area. So there are many factors that why the consumption of steel is so low in our country. If I talk about developed countries like maybe US or France, their per capita consumption of steel is higher because of industrially and economically advanced countries. These are industrially and economically advanced countries, and also they have been building their infrastructure, very strong infrastructure they have, which connects the whole country. So those countries also use more steel in their real estate sector. So they use more steel. For example, if you see the other countries defense sector, other countries maybe what do you call it as any other sector which we have discussed earlier, which are the uses of steel in the first part. If you talk about those sectors, whether it is a defense sector, or whether it is an engineering goods, or whether it is a medical equipment sector, if you see these sectors, children, in other countries or in the developed countries, their development is more than our country. So their consumption of steel is more than our country. So that is your next question. Why is per capita consumption of steel so low in India? Now we come to the next part where it is given there are two types of steel plants. One is we call it as mini steel plant, and the other one is we call it as integrated steel plant. Now, what is the difference between the mini steel plant and integrated steel plant? There is a mini steel plant. Let's talk about, now the term itself tells mini means small. It is a small steel plant that are smaller, not like a big steel plant. Now these have electric furnaces. Now what do you mean by electric furnaces? Furnace means it is referred as a heater or a boiler. In easy terms, if I have to explain you, it is a kind of a heating unit used to heat up anything. So these are the furnaces. So they are electrically run furnaces, and they use steel scrap. Now what is steel scrap? It consists of discarded steel. It consists of discarded steel. That is your steel scrap. Other than that, it also uses sponge iron. Now what is sponge iron? Sponge iron is produced from the direct reduction of iron ore to iron by reducing gas or element carbon produced from natural gas or coal. So that is your sponge iron. So they use steel scrap and sponge iron, and they have the electric furnaces which gives the heat, and they have also the re-rollers. Rollers means roll, which rolls. Like for example, a textile worker who winds the cloth from large rolls in onto the separate tubes. That is rolling, we call it as. So if they roll, they have re-rollers that use steel ingots. Now what is an ingot? Ingot is a piece of relatively pure material. It is a relatively pure material, usually metal, that is cast into a shape suitable for further processing. So it is made into certain shapes. So that is steel ingots as well. What do they produce? These small mini plants, they produce mild and alloy steel of given specifications. Now, alloy, this term again, these are all, most of them are the chemistry terms, children. You might have done in science. Alloy means, like when I talk about alloy steel, it is steel that is alloyed with a variety of elements in total amount. That is, it is mixed with other elements. That is what you call it as alloy, where generally a substance composed of two or more metals is there. That is an alloy. So this is, again I'm repeating, a small steel plant will not do the whole process of converting completely iron into steel products. But what does this mini steel plant do? They have small electric furnaces, electric boilers where they will heat up, they will use the steel scrap, the waste of the steel scrap and the sponge iron. They roll that and they use the steel ingots, which I told you, which is a pure material. They make into it into a suitable shape. They make into, and they produce mild and alloy steel of given specifications. That is your mini steel plant. Now we come to the next one, that is your integrated steel plant. When I talk about mini steel plant, I told it is a small steel plant. But when I talk about integrated steel plant, what I mean by integrated steel plant, definitely as I told, it is a very large plant, very big plant, where all the process, the whole process of steel making is done under one roof. The whole process of making of steel is done under one roof. So here it is given what all it does. An integrated steel plant is large. It handles everything in one complex, from putting together raw material to steel making, rolling, shaping. So a whole process is done under one roof. That is called as integrated steel plant. We have one small flow chart also shown here, children, in the earlier page, which you can just go through it again. There is no need to learn, just for your information it is given. So transport of raw material to plant, which we all of us know, it is iron ore. In the blast furnace, as I told you, it is used heating purposes, that is blast furnace. Iron ore is melted. Limestone is a fluxing material which is used to fix it, which is added. Slag is removed. Coke is burned to heat the ore. Coking coke or the coking coal, which we talked about, that is used to heat the ore. Then molten materials are poured into molds called as pigs. You know, it's nothing, pigs means they are generally the hollow containers. What are the molds? When I talk about molds, they are hollow containers. So that molten material, semi-liquid form, which you know, that is poured into those containers or the molds. Then the shaping metal is done. They are rolled, pressed, etc. The shaping is done. Then finally, when we talk about that, pig iron is further purified by melting, oxidizing, the impurities are removed. Manganese, nickel, chromium, these are added to that to the pig iron or the raw iron, the second form of the iron, which is the pig iron, and then from that one After adding manganese, nickel, chromium, it is finally given a shape, rolling, pressing, casting and forging. Now what we have done, this whole process which we have seen here, if it is done under one roof, that is called as integrated steel plant. But when the whole process is not done under one roof, for example, only till the pig iron it is done, then that is a mini steel plant. So that's the difference between those two and the flow chart. That's only for information, children, that flow chart. You can go through it once. We come to the continuation part of iron and steel. Most of the public sector undertaking, after the steel is produced, most of them generally we see they are under the government sector. Now some of them are even there under the private sector also. So most of them which are under the government sector, they are marketed through SAIL. What is the full form of SAIL? Steel Authority of India Limited, SAIL. In 1950s, China and India produced almost the same quantity of steel. If we talk about the 1950 years back, we and China, our country and China was producing the same quantity of the steel. But you know, where is China now? Today, China is the largest producer of steel as well as it is the largest consumer of steel. What I told you, it is China is producer of steel, that is okay, they are producing more steel. The second one is their consumption of steel is also high, that means they are building their infrastructure so well. For example, their defense sector is improving a lot, their medical sector is improving, their telephonic sector, scientific equipment center, various consumer goods sector, all these sectors are improving. All these sectors are consuming steel at a large amount. That is why it is on the first rank of the world's largest consumer of steel. Now let's come to the Chota Nagpur Plateau, which is the where maximum amount of steel, iron and steel industries are located. So the next one word question is, where are the maximum iron and steel industries located in our country? Which region? It is Chota Nagpur Plateau region, in which maximum amount of iron and steel industries are located. Now coming to the localization factors. What are the localization factors due to which iron and steel industry is located in Chota Nagpur Plateau? Those localization, I told you what is the meaning of localization, why they are located here, the reasons, causes. They are low cost of iron ore. Here the cost of iron ore is low. We get high grade raw material, that is good quality of raw material. We also have cheap labor which can work in these mines, and we have vast growth potential in the home market. In the plateau region, we have a lot of market for this raw material. So we have lots of industries over there, and that's why we say that it is concentrated in the Chota Nagpur Plateau area. These are the localization factors. But as I told you, every industry faces with certain challenges. Iron and steel industry also faces certain problems and certain challenges in our country. There is a question also here, children, which is a part of the challenges. The question is, India is, the lines are as it is asked, India is an important iron and steel producing country in the world. Yet, we are not able to perform to our full potential. That means, although India produces large amount of steel, we are not able to perform well in the world in the terms of consumption. What is the reason? The reasons are, here it is given, so they are challenges. Number one, high cost and limited availability of coking coal. You know what is coking coal, which is used to burn. One is electric furnaces, which I told you, which runs with the electricity in the mini steel plant. If we have to burn or heat up large amount of iron ore, then you cannot do with that electric furnaces. You need the coal for that. So for that purpose, you use this coking coal. So we have the coking coal in our country. It is very costly. It's a very costly coal. So the cost, if we use that coal, our cost of production will also increase. That is your coking coal. Second one, we have lower productivity of labor. Now, what do you mean by lower productivity of labor? That means in India, the labor is not so skillful or efficient. Next, irregular supply of energy. When we talk about electricity or energy in our industries, that is very much irregular. Poor infrastructure. This we already have done in our country. If these regions of mining are located in the remote areas or in the villages, they are not well connected with the rest of the part of the country. So these are the challenges of iron and steel industry. Children, we have one more small part of the chapter which is left here. That is this industry, or we have to import good quality of steel from other countries. It's not that we are only producing steel, we are also importing good quality steel from the other countries. If we talk about the overall production of steel is sufficient to meet our domestic demand within our country. Domestic demand means within our country. The demand for this steel, we are able to meet it from our country production of steel as well as some amount we import. That is how we are able to meet our domestic demand within our country demand. There are two terms here, liberalization and foreign direct investment. These two have given a boost to the industry. Now this iron and steel industry is now growing up. This industry is tremendously growing up because of the two reasons. What are they? First one is liberalization. Liberalization is process whereby any country or any government lifts restrictions on private individual activities. That means earlier, a long time before, iron and steel industries, most of them were in the public sector, were under the government sector, and they were marketed also only by the government sector. But later on in 1990, government has lifted this ban. Now even the any private company, it can do the mining, then it can own any iron and steel industry in our country. So that is lifting of any kind of restrictions, that is called as liberalization. Further, this term is explained in economics where whole chapter is based on liberalization. Then we have foreign direct investment, FDI also we call it as. It is an investment made by a firm or any company or an individual in one country into business interest located into the other country. Direct investment, that means any foreign country, maybe it is US, France or any country, they can come to India and they can set up their own industry in our country. That is what is called as foreign direct investment. They can invest. This is also called as, we'll study this term again in the globalization chapter in economics. These two have given boost to the industry with the efforts of private entrepreneurs, private investors, that is. So there is need to allocate these resources for research and development to produce steel more competitively. That completes your iron and steel, children, this whole big industry, and all the questions which I have discussed in this part of iron and steel industry, all the questions are important. Please go through them again, this video, and do all these questions, as in the next class I will start with the next mineral based industry, and that would be your aluminium smelting industry. So we are left with now few industries: aluminium industry, chemical industry, fertilizer, cement industries. In the next video I will cover. So have a good day, student, and please go through these videos again and again.